Welcome back to Public Affairs on Peach. We are talking about teen suicide with John Trautwein. His oldest son, Will, took his own life in 2010. John has graciously agreed to come in and share his story with us. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks, Megan.
Tell me about your son, Will.
So Will was just a wonderful young man. When we lost him, he was 15 years old, and he was big and strong and very healthy, very popular, very successful. I think the best thing I can say about him is he was just very kind, very loving son and friend. And you know, when he took his life, we were all just absolutely stunned. We had no idea that he had been struggling in any way.
That's the thing, you didn't know. You didn't
Right.
see any signs, is that right?
That's correct. That's correct. We also didn't know to look for any signs. It was 7 years ago. The concept of mental illness, the concept of depression, teen suicide, that wasn't in our family's vocabulary. We saw a very happy, healthy, and strong, successful young man, and had no idea that depression is very real and very maskable. And so we didn't even know to look. We didn't know to ask. We didn't know any of this. And as a result of that, we lost him.
And you had to then gather your thoughts. A few days later, you delivered the eulogy at his funeral. How does a father come to grips with that?
You know, it's a very difficult question to answer. I think the best way to answer it is because he died of suicide, and it was such a surprise to everyone, that entire weekend were filled with questions of why, and everybody was focusing on the suicide and how he died. And I think what I really decided to do is I had one chance to truly honor him. And as I wanted to talk about how wonderful he was and how he lived, not how he died. And the more I thought about how he lived and what he represented, the easier it got for me to create the eulogy for him and to really honor him. And it turned out to be the most important speech of my life, probably the most important day of my life, when I really think about how important it was for me to honor him in that way. And my life changed as a result of that, and it allowed me to get through this in a more positive fashion, just representing what Will stood for, and that was loving his friends and being there for his pals.
And you're a dad to 3 younger children as well.
Yeah.
How did you get through that, talking to your other kids about this?
So you know, we all grieved in our own way. We did talk about it a lot, and that was very healing to us. But the best answer I can give, it wasn't, you know, I didn't get my kids through. Their friends got them through. And that was the whole basis of our life, those first couple days and weeks and months. And even today, 7 years later, our friends have been the backbone. You know, we say they were God's hands, and they picked us up. And whether it was Holland's friends who were 6 years old, my little girl, or you know, Michael and Tommy were, 11 and 13, the way that their friends came to their rescue was inspiring. And it made us really take a look at just how powerful, how much power a friend has to deliver hope to each other. And it was basically watching that and observing that was how we started the Will to Live Foundation.
And tell me about that. You've taken your energy and your efforts into this greater cause.
So we really wanted to talk about this. We wanted to spread this awareness of teen suicide. Because we didn't know that every 2 hours in America a teenager takes their lives. We didn't know that 1 in 5 or 1 in 6 high school students suffer from some form of depression. We didn't know that, and I wish we would have known. So we thought if we could create a foundation that can help spread this awareness, but does it in a positive way. And we found this concept of getting friends to talk to each other, getting teenagers to talk to each other, and young adults to talk to each other. Because it's so much easier to talk to a friend than it is to talk to a parent or to an adult.
That's what we were just saying with the GBI. They might be more willing to open up to a friend, a buddy.
Exactly. And so, you know, it was literally days after Will's death, you know, not months, where his own friends came to me and said, we want to start a foundation. And that's where the Will to Live Foundation was created. And it was for the kids and through the kids and by the kids. And everything we do is owned and implemented and orchestrated by teenagers and young adults and even pre-teenagers now.
What are some of the activities you do, and is it all in Metro Atlanta?
It's mostly in Metro Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia. We are also, you know, in various pockets around the country. I'm from Chicago originally, my wife's from Philadelphia. We lived in Boston. We have friends all over the country that have taken our message and tried to implement it locally. But really, the things we're doing is we do a lot of speaking. We do a lot on social media. You know, we talked about social media being a cause of a lot of problems, but we also see it as a real opportunity. I mean, that young girl was saved because of social media, because people were watching it. So we use social media a lot to spread this message that life is really hard for teenagers today. They have cell phones. They have a 24/7 constant barrage of information, mostly negative, right? Every single thing they do is seen by everyone, right? And so if we can try to get to a point where we get these kids to work with each other and realize that life is hard, and together we can get through it. So these events we even had a Team Will to Live lacrosse, we had a Team Will to Live baseball, we had
reaching them in different ways that they're familiar with.
Exactly.
All right, John, got to leave it there for a minute, but don't go anywhere. We're going to speak more with John in just a little bit about the Will to Live Foundation. We need to take a quick break. As we do so, we would like to share with you the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. The phone number is on your screen. It is 1-800-273-TALK. Again, 1-800-273-TALK. Go ahead and write that number down if you or anybody you know could use it. Public Affairs on Peach will be right back.